let's talk about the insane amount of injuries that have hit the NFL so far in week 2. And in my eyes, these injuries are arguably having an at least equal effect on the league as COVID-19 has in terms of players not being there to play. I mean, first off, Panthers running back Christian McCaffery is out for 2 to 6 weeks. This will hurt the Panthers big time. I mean, the Panthers are not one-dimensional by any means, but Christian McCaffrey is the key in the ignition of that offense. With McCaffrey gone, I have a serious worry for Teddy Bridgewater's performance in the upcoming weeks. McCaffrey is simply a workhorse, and that offense basically runs through him more than it even runs through the quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater. Don't expect the Panthers to win next week considering this huge loss. Next up, Michael Thomas is expected to miss 2 to 4 weeks. Not as big of a loss in terms of time, but Michael Thomas had just 3 receptions for 17 yards against the Bucs, a real letdown. And without Michael Thomas, the Saints lost by 10 to the Raiders. So considering the fact that the Saints still won that first game, this loss isn't a make-or-break thing. But the Saints will still need to find offensive success going forward. They found relative offensive success against the Raiders, but especially late in the game, they weren't able to consistently move the ball well. Opposing defenses have less to worry about now. I think that helped the Raiders in the long run. It makes it harder for Breeze to find open receivers consistently. He's been throwing really inaccurately these last 2 weeks. Really inaccurately, especially for a quarterback like Drew Brees, who is considered to be one of the top quarterbacks in the league. Now, along with this, running back Phillip Lindsay of the Broncos is out for 2 to 4 weeks as well. Lindsay had just 24 yards in his 2020 debut, despite coming off of 2 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, but Melvin Gordon has done well in the wake of Lindsay's absence, so I don't expect this to hurt the Broncos too much in the short term. Now, on the other hand, the Broncos lost 2 other key offensive pieces. Courtland Sutton, the Broncos' number 1 receiver, is out for the season. So this is going to force Jerry Jeudy, the first-round pick for the Broncos, into the starting role well before he's ready for it in my eyes. You don't want a first-round rookie wide receiver being forced into a number 1 role against the other team's best corner every single game. Now, the year 1 receiver will have to take over the starting role, and if not the starting role, then he's still going to have to be, or he's just going to have a larger role overall, even if he doesn't take over the starting position in terms of that number 1 spot. And the loss of the Broncos' starting quarterback, Drew Lock, for 3 to 5 weeks won't help the situation. I mean, you guys remember, I loved Drew Lock. I loved how he looked at the end of last season when he played in those 5 games, and I honestly really liked how he was looking coming into this year. He didn't have an amazing first game, but he didn't have a bad first game either. He played relatively well for a second-year quarterback, and I was excited to see what the Broncos could do this season. But now that Drew Lock is out, I mean, you gotta worry. Now, Jeff Driscoll didn't play terrible in week 2, coming in as the backup. He's forced in the starting position. He didn't play terrible, but without Drew Lock and without Courtland Sutton and without Phillip Lindsay, I don't know. I do not see the Broncos doing super well in these next few weeks. Now, the 49ers are another team to suffer multiple losses early in the season, with star defensive end and projected defensive player of the year Joey Bosa out for the year with a torn ACL, and Jimmy Garapollo looking at a 4 to 6 week absence due to injury as well. Now, with a key defensive loss and the 49ers losing their starting quarterback, I don't expect them to win all of their next 4 games. And if Jimmy G is out against the Patriots 5 weeks from now, expect them to lose that game as well. Saquon Barkley is also out for the season with a torn ACL. The top-tier running back has suffered the second large injury in his short career. Now, some other key names that are out either for the year or for a shorter period. Center Mike Pouncey for the Chargers is out for a year. He's a big name on that team. A.J. Brown of the Titans, he isn't out for the year. He's out for a few weeks, but still a big player there. Linebacker Bruce Irvin of the Seahawks is out for the year. He's a key pass rusher for that team. And we saw they were practically unable to get pressure on Cam Newton on Sunday. So that's really frightening for the Seahawks. Considering, I mean, they were stretching it all the way down to rookies. They threw a rookie, I think, late in the game into the role to try and get some pressure on Cam Newton. Even that didn't work. So now that Bruce Irvin's gone, they got to find a way to get pressure on the quarterback fast. Now, Anthony Barr of the Vikings is also out for the year. He's a key defensive player for the Vikings, a defense that has struggled through the first 2 weeks, allowing over 40 points in their first match and over 25 points in their second matchup against the Colts, in which they let up 28.